Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Hiding Our Bias podcast. I'm Caleb Brooks, and I'm with my co-host Tripp Blackmon. Tripp, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. Guys, we were going to have our buddy Stephen Ray, better known as Stingray, off the Fine Bomb show on with us this week, but found out from him today that his grandfather has been put in the hospital, and I know from talking to him over football season, he's been having to deal with that for a while now. So, keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully, they'll be able to work everything out for, his grandfather and stuff. But we were going to have him on to recap the football season and, just get his thoughts on everything. But hopefully we'll be able to work that out soon for you guys. But, Tripp, I got to ask you, have you been able to get over Monday night yet?
Little by little. Every day I kind of, try to talk myself into saying, it's okay. But, it all just goes back to, pretty much, Clemson, Deshaun Watson, he played really well, and he played like the best quarterback in the nation, and Alabama's quarterback, Jalen Hurts, you could tell he was a freshman out there. There were times where he looked really good on a couple plays and a couple drives, but as a whole, it just looked like Alabama had a lot of just couldn't get clicking. Towards the end of the game, like they got a little bit tired, especially defensively. They were on the field for 99 plays, not used to that. Got pretty tired doing that, and it showed. But there's nothing to take away from Alabama. It doesn't mean that they're a bad team. Clemson was just that good. Clemson this year was very, very good. They got away early in the season from they escaped a couple close, almost losses. They were very close wins to like Troy and Auburn. And I know they lost to Pitt, but that is not the same team that showed up on Monday night. The team that showed up on Monday night was the best team in the country, and they went out and proved it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Alabama beat themselves in some ways. I think that you can't overlook that. They got away from the run. I saw a stat, they only had 8 design runs in the second half, and you can credit that to the injury of Bo Scarborough. But the thing is, the guy that replaced him was an 1,000-yard back for them, Damian Harris, and a lot of times when he touched the ball on Monday night, he broke some big runs, and I never understood. They kept dropping Jalen back in the pocket, and Jalen, first of all, is not a pocket passer. Not right now at how young he is, and I don't think they helped Jalen out any. They didn't put him in any good situations to make passes, and Alabama made mistakes, but you got to credit Clemson because Clemson made the plays when they needed to win that game, and they wanted it and they went out and took it, and so you got to really give them credit. I told you last week on the podcast that playing Clemson worried me because of the factor that they were motivated to come back and play Bama kind of the same way it was for the 2009 Alabama team when they wanted to get back and play Florida in the SEC championship. And, you saw what happened. They got it to the fourth quarter where they wanted it, and this year they won the fourth quarter. And, last year it was Bama that won it. But, congrats to Clemson. It was a great game, and I think it was a perfect fitting to the end of this football season. It was a wild and crazy year, and finally somebody beat Nick Saban in the national championship game, and I don't think the dynasty is dead or anything. And Alabama plays Florida State game 1 next year, and they could lose that game. I still don't think it's dead. As long as Nick Saban's still there, I think Alabama's going to continue to be in the running every single year. But, it was a tough game. It was a good one. Up until that point, I'd say USC and Penn State was definitely the bowl game of the year, but I think that one took over and was the best game of the bowl season on Monday night. And, if you sit back and take away being a fan of Alabama, it really was a great football game.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of my favorites of the bowl game. Obviously it hurt to be an Alabama fan, and the way it ended. The Rose Bowl was an excellent game. That was really awesome. I feel like that one's right up there with the national championship game, but I feel like the national championship game was um, it was a better game just because there were actual, this was for the number one spot in college football. So I feel like, that has a lot to say about the game. There was several other really good games, really close games, some that weren't so close. But overall, I feel like bowl season this year it was good. I remember thinking at the beginning of the bowl season that, there weren't a whole lot of good games. It was pretty much a bunch of blowouts. And I just remember thinking, oh, this is stupid. Why do we have so many bowl games? And then towards the end of the bowl season, last like 2 weeks, of course, the New Year's Six bowls, and then, the bowls right after Christmas and all of that, they started getting really, really good because these were really, really good teams playing against each other. And so I was really excited. I was kind of mad that, everybody started playing good football and then, it's done. I kind of wanted more of it, but overall, bowl season was a success, I would say.
Yeah, I enjoyed the later bowl games. They definitely weren't as good early on, but that's kind of what you're going to get when you consider the teams that were playing. But uh, you know, it was a good football season overall. Had different teams that surprised you. I think the team that surprised me the most this year was Washington, and then I'd say Western Michigan also. Wasn't expecting those two to do as well as they did, but you know, Washington played Alabama really close in the playoff game, and they had a really good team. And as long as Chris Peterson's there, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're definitely a team to watch out for in the future.
Yeah, Chris Peterson is a good coach. He's pretty much been successful everywhere that he's been, and whenever he left Boise State, obviously they're not as good as they were when he was there. Another team that played really, really well this season, and I didn't think that they were going to show. I thought they were going to get destroyed in the ball game, and they actually held their own. Was Western Michigan. They played Wisconsin, and I thought Wisconsin was going to absolutely blow them out. And I mean, they lost by 8, and they got down several times, where by more than a touchdown, and they kept coming back, and they kept coming back. They never quit, and I thought that I thought it was really good for them, and they deserve to be in that spot. It kind of made me see, the whole season. I was like, oh, they're not that good. They're not even good, but that kind of made me realize that maybe they are pretty decent. Maybe they are pretty good. Obviously they're probably not top 10, but they were a pretty good football team this year.
Yeah, I mean definitely, and there were some disappointments throughout the year as well. I think Ole Miss was a huge disappointment. I think LSU was a big disappointment this season as well. Texas and Notre Dame were two huge disappointments, and I mean the list kind of goes on. But I think another surprise team, I guess, it would have to be USC, considering they started 1-3 and then ended the season on a 9-game winning streak, and they have a lot of momentum going in the next season with a lot of players coming back, and they're definitely going to be a top 5 team in the preseason rankings next year.
Yeah, I thought they played really well. I'm really looking forward to next year. I saw, I think it was ESPN put out um, the top odds to win the national championship next year. I think Alabama was like
And they're 8-1.
8-1, yeah, and then right behind them was USC was 9-1. Um, there was maybe one other that was 9-1. A lot of a lot of teams who finished out, in the top 10, 15 this year are expected to be contenders for next year. And that's really exciting, especially with Alabama FSU playing. That's going to be a good game. FSU was another one. I think they were 9-1 odds to win. So a lot of good football is about to start, coming up through the years. I've seen it's almost like it was mostly certain schools in the past few years that were really, really dominating, and now those schools are kind of leveling off, and these other schools are coming up, and now is a lot of the Power Five conferences, their good teams are, they're good teams, and they can compete with anyone else as opposed to how it used to be where only the top two ACC schools could compete with the top five SEC schools. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's more level, and now a lot more. I guess the players are going to, I guess their home state, or I don't know, or maybe
Well, I think
football's getting better as a whole.
well, I think, and I don't say this as an Alabama fan, but I think you just have to credit that to Nick Saban. I mean, the SEC was competitive, and now all of a sudden you've seen all the coaches leave. Urban Meyer's gone. Franklin is gone. Les Miles has now been fired. And so all these, Spurrier's retired. And so I just think that you're seeing, the SEC had all these top coaches, and now they don't. And I'm not saying that Saban ran them out, but, since he came, we know who the best team in the SEC has been. And, we were talking to some people the other day, and it's like they said, right now, if you're a coach, why would you want to come into the SEC and have to play against that every year? And so I think that what you're seeing is that he's kind of taken over the SEC, and so now you're seeing all these coaches go to these different places, and it's making these places better. And, who would have thought that Dabo Swinney would do it? He did it, what he's done at Clemson. He barely got the job when he got it, went through a few years of Clemsoning every year, and they've gotten over that hump now. And, it's a credit to him as a coach, and, he's done a great job. And I don't think he'll ever be the coach at Alabama. I don't think he wants to come to Alabama, but he's done a great job at Clemson, and he has turned them into a national power.
Yeah, for sure. I do know that, like you said about Dabo, before they went on their before they made the playoffs, I can't remember if it was 2013 or 2014, somewhere. Anyway, like the year before Clemson got really good, Clemson wanted Dabo fired. They wanted him gone. Well, now, he got him some pretty decent players, developed him a little bit. Got Deshaun Watson came in, and a two-time Heisman finalist, helped him out extremely. So that was really good for Clemson just as a school to, stick out with Dabo and let him, get his guys in there, let him coach them up, and it turned out really well for him.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the ACC, they've improved a lot. You got Fuente at Virginia Tech now, who is a very good coach. Jimbo Fisher at Florida State's a good coach. North Carolina has a very good coach. And so you're seeing them start to come up, and, because they're starting to get better coaches at these places. That's why the ACC has now gotten better. Now, the ACC is very top heavy. I will say that. But, you got Petrino at Louisville, who, not my favorite person, but he's a good coach, and you can't take that away from him. The Big Ten has now gotten a bunch of good coaches: Harbaugh, Meyer, Franklin, and they just added PJ Fleck now in the mix there. And so I think what you're seeing with the Big 12 is the Big 12 is falling behind. They don't have many good coaches at anywhere besides Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, and we'll now see what Tom Herman is made of at Texas here in the next few years, if he can, continue to do what he did at Houston and bring it over to Texas. But, that's why the Big 12 is down the way it is. And, the Pac-12, they've got a few, good coaches. Adding Willie Taggart at Oregon, I think, was big for Oregon. But, we'll see. I think that those two, the Pac-12 and the Big 12, are definitely the bottom two leagues in the Power Five. And then I'd have to put